And now, it's time for the Matt Cripe Show.
Matt Cripe saved my life.
I think Matt Cripe is honestly, he should run for president. Matt Cripe is the only person I know that tells the truth and will tell it to the public.
Matt Cripe. The Matt Cripe Show, B96.7.
Matt Cripe, honestly, genius, pure genius, the whole show.
Matt Cripe starting now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of the Matt Cripe Show. Normally, our format is pretty distinct. We've got me, my compatriots, and my editor, and my producer, and we all sit in a room and we take calls from different people, and that's how we do our show. But tonight I've got a very special interview with Dr. Quinten Shaftspere, and he and I sat down last week, and we had a very good conversation. On the show, we've talked a lot about Hydrolysis Fortified Evangelion Theory, and it's basically, if you missed the previous shows on it, it's the theory that we are living in a computer simulation, but it's not really, it's a computer-assisted simulation. So we're all us, but we live in a half-computer simulated world. And basically, this theory states that matter is actually stationary, and that the laws of physics and the things that we see on a day-to-day basis are actually just the computer simulation fortifying the matter, basically, and carrying the matter through the motions and providing us with all the sensory perceptions that we see on a day-to-day basis, when in reality our consciousness is stable, is in a constant state, and does not move. But we talked a lot about this theory with quite a few doctors over the years, and a few physicists who believe in it. But Dr. Quinten Shaftspere, hello, Doctor.
Hello, Matt.
Well, Doctor, you and I have been friends for a long time, and this theory is very controversial. Can you tell us why?
Well, yes, Matt. It's very controversial because the establishment doesn't want you to believe this. If you believe that your matter is stationary, you're going to change the way you make decisions, and you're not going to live the life that the establishment wants you to believe, to live. We have, in this country, over 400 million people starving in the streets. And that doesn't have to be this way. We're living in a computer-assisted simulation, and we can change the programming of that simulation.
Well, yes, a lot of the proponents of the theory state this, that the very nature of the program could be changed and rewritten to help us as humans.
Yes, Matt. Yes, it could. And the reason why the people in power in this world want to keep it this way is to keep the people down. They draw energy from the suffering of others, which allows them to manipulate the bigger universe outside of what we can see with our sensory perceptions, because we're all trapped in this very tight-knit computer world. And no one really realizes just, how much is controlled and how much you are really just a computer program yourself.
Now, see, that's an interesting theory, Quinten, that we're actually just computer programs ourselves.
Yes, Matt. Because if you're a computer program, you'll just go through the motions of what your computer programming is. And I think a lot of people that we encounter, according to Hydrolysis Fortified Evangelion Theory, are not actually, sentient consciousnesses, but actually programs created to interact with those sentient consciousnesses and to guide us in our way that we do things. Because as consciousnesses, we have the power to affect the programming around us, because we're not living beings. That's something that Hydrolysis Fortified Evangelion Theory over time has really grown to believe, is that none of us are actually alive.
Now, see, that's an interesting concept, and in all my studies of it, I've never really encountered anything like that.
No, many people don't, Matt. They don't realize the implications of this. If none of us are alive, then what is the real difference between a consciousness and a program? And that is that the consciousness can go outside of its programming once it realizes what the programming is. But a program cannot, because it can never fully understand what its programming is. So I think we as people have to gather strength and change the way that we look at the world and change the way that our programming works. Hydrolysis Evangelion Theory, when it first came out, a lot of people thought it was like this Buddhist, style, and it was different. It was a new age way of life and living. And I don't, qualify with that. I think that people are really the root here. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful world we live in. But let's reprogram it. Let's change it,
And I think that's one of the major problems, a lot of people have with the theory is that, it's a reprogramming of what we know, as people. And we can reprogram everything in this world. We don't have to be human anymore. And, that's the real grounding of the theory. We could escape human bodies and human limitations. And I think a lot of people are scared of that. They don't want to see them true selves.
And yes, Matt, and those are the programs. I think the real consciousnesses in this world do want to see different things and do want to go where human limitations cannot take them. So yes, we're going to be lizard men, and we're going to be dragons, and we're going to be orcs, or whatever it is that our new forms will be. But once the reprogramming takes place, you're going to see this. And yeah, we need to take control of it.
Now, in your book, I was reading last night, actually, and I noticed this concept that you brought up, that the reprogramming is really taking place, that the change in our physical forms and our bodies has actually been taking place, in pop culture and in media and in this world that we can see with our own two eyes. It's been taking place. But more on that after a word from our sponsor.
Cletus! Go get a chicken out the barn.
Paul, the fox ate all the chicken.
What are we gonna do?
Come on down to Chips on Fishing Barn. Down here in Wall, Wisconsin, we got chicken parts, chicken lips, chicken anything you need. Just come on down. Boy, if they ate all the chickens, they ate all the hogs too, and you know it. Come on down, boy. We ain't got no harbor. We got chicken. We got Coca-Cola products.